The defense in the Alec Murdaugh double murder trial is set to take center stage now following weeks of prosecution testimony. Prosecutors presented around 60 witnesses and 400 pieces of evidence against the disgraced South Carolina attorney charged with killing his wife and son. Starting tomorrow, the defense will present a week of testimony followed by rebuttals, closing arguments, and jury deliberations are set to happen the following week. Let's bring in legal analyst and reporter for the Law and Crime Network, Jesse Weber, to discuss where we are now and what's expected in the next few weeks. Good morning, and thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me. A lot to talk about.
A lot to talk about. The prosecution has rested. What did you think of the case, and did they make their case?
They did a few things that were great. So they established the timeline, I thought, very well about when Maggie and Paul were killed. I think they did a phenomenal job of trying to show that Alec Murdaugh's movements, the statements he made were all very questionable. That was backed up by digital forensic data. Why was he driving his car so fast after the killings? Why did he allegedly tell two people connected to the family to basically align their stories with his version of events? We know that he told investigators he lied to them. And then, of course, there's parts of that evidence that was introduced by the prosecution that really doesn't line up with Alec Murdaugh's alibi. So I think they did a phenomenal job of doing that. Now, there were some missteps, right? So they don't have the murder weapons. They do not have DNA or forensics or fingerprints that directly tie Alec Murdaugh to the killings. They don't have the murder weapon. I think the defense officers did a really strong job of showing there were problems in the investigation, sloppy police work. One lead detective actually provided inaccurate information to the grand jury. So right now, I think the prosecution did the best case they could given the evidence they had. But is it going to be enough to convince the jury that he did this?
And so now what does the defense do as the defense goes on the offensive? Forgive the metaphors there, but what is the plan for the defense case here?
They have to do a few things. So first, they have to strike at the timeline and say that Maggie and Paul were killed later than when prosecutors say they were killed. Or they'll say, we'll accept the timeline, and it's impossible that Alec Murdaugh could have killed his family, cleaned his clothes, just got rid of the murder weapons in that short amount of time. Also, I think what they're really going to do is suggest that Alec Murdaugh might have been a lot of things. He might have stolen from people. He might have lied to people, but he was a family man, and he would never kill his wife and son. There's no evidence to indicate he was going to be violent in that way. And I think that's something that the defense has already done. But by calling their own witnesses, like Buster Murdaugh, the surviving son, that's something they're going to really hone in on. And
I'm looking for a one-word answer here, yes or no. Will Murdaugh testify?
Possibly, because I don't think he should. But this is a guy who has no problem opening up to people. I don't think that he will do it. But listen, he might think that this is his last chance. He's got a ton of financial crimes in the background, might face life in prison. So he might think I have nothing to lose. I don't think he should do it, but it's possible he might.
All right, Jesse Weber, thank you very much for your input.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.